that's why it's really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
But really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and D-gentlemen of all ages. Welcome back to Degen Roundtable Book Club. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the book all about Bitcoin, or what we're actually going to be doing is a bit of a case study as to why we think this book does a fantastic job of being a good structure for how to onboard somebody into crypto and do the sales pitch effectively of why you're here, what you're trying to get out of it. But also, step one is kind of setting up the setting and establishing who the enemy is. In this case, fiat money and everything that goes with it. But outside of that, I'm your host, Zenith. It is great to see all you guys tonight. I want to give a big special shout out first and foremost to Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics. You were the one that recommended this book. I think it is a fantastic little 2-hour read, and this very well could be something you can just toss to people with very little worry, and it can do the job of getting people in there. But outside of that, we have some excellent folks that are joining us tonight. First up, we got Dr. Alan Chen. Good to see you, my man.
It's been quite a hot minute since I've been on the show. It's been quite busy with lots of things that will take me the entire show, so I will not hog the entire time. But it's good to see everybody, and I'm glad to be on here. Yeah, let's not be strangers anymore. That's for sure. We're looking forward to talking to Bitcoin, and I'll be in Bitcoin country tomorrow. So I'll be in El Salvador, experiencing what we're about to talk about today. So that'll be cool.
Excellent. Well, it's always a pleasure having you. Glad you can make it. And we also got everyone's favorite, Mr. Will Stevenson. How you doing?
Hello. I just got back from Toronto. We did a 20-hour drive or 24-hour drive all of yesterday. So I'm a little bit like gassed out and zonked out. I listened to this book on the drive, and I got to say, it's a really good book. It's nice. It's short. It's sweet. It's like a fantastic little covers everything that we all should, all of us who've been in the space for a while. We all know this stuff, but I think one of the things that you wanted to talk about today is like how this book is a really good onboarding tool for getting people into Bitcoin. But as far as how I am, like, life is good. I'm back in Texas. I don't know if you guys can't really tell, but Alan's actually like he's right over in that little room right over there. You can't see him because I've got the blurry mode on.
Oh, that's hell here, by the way.
Out here visiting and saying hello.
You might move because it's hot in here.
It is probably pretty hot in there, bro. I've got the AC over here, and there was no AC over there. So yeah, Alan was chilling on this couch out there in the background. But we'll see where he goes for this stream. He's gonna be hopping all over the place. But life is good. We're hanging out. We're having fun. He's going to El Salvador, and I'm doing cool things. What are you doing, Zenith? What's new and exciting with you, man? No one ever asks the host how it's going. How are you, bro?
I am doing well. Again, apologies for not getting this book club done a little bit sooner. I was out in Washington State, camping out in beautiful Mount Rainier for a friend's wedding. So we had an excellent time out there, but no service. And more importantly, had other things to do. So outside of that, yeah, we're back home in New Mexico, just getting ready to get back into it for a while before I have to go to another wedding in October. But we shall persevere and try to keep cranking through as many of these as we possibly can.
This is good, man. I don't think Degen Roundtable has done a stream since Brendan hosted Whiskey Wednesday, I think 2 weeks ago. So, or maybe it was last week or whatever. But yeah, it's like I know I haven't been on a stream for a hot minute. So, welcome back, everybody. Good that we could have you with us. The four of you that are watching. Looks like we got 1 on YouTube and 3 on X. So good to see all four of you out there.
For sure. And yes, by the way, folks, do apologize. The gang has been a little bit busy, but we will be doing a show on Sunday because there's some big news that happened recently after what has felt like forever of being in a waiting period for the next Federal Reserve meeting. Jerome Powell finally cut interest rates. It's here.
Wow.
And by the looks of it, there's more to come as well. So we've been waiting
now you
for
do it.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, it took them long enough. We ended 2024 looking at 4 interest cuts for 2025. We are 9 months through the year now, and we just got the first one, which is only a quarter point. And there's only 2 more meetings for the rest of the year as well. So
get with the program, people. Get there faster.
This has been a long time coming, for sure. But outside of that, I do want to give a very special shout out to a few folks out there. Yes, sir.
It's time. Oh, I might have to turn off the blurry. Oh, it's time for chat shoutouts, ladies and germs. I should maybe use a different background setting, but you guys know the drill. We're going to shout out some chats.
Here we go. All right. Well, we're going to keep it short and sweet tonight because we got Cotton Trust coming in here. He says, very interested in learning all about Bitcoin. It's almost like that is exactly what we're talking about tonight. But either way, super glad to have you here. Thank you so much for showing up. And if anyone else shows up, we will get you in here, get all your chats, get your comments. If you have a good joke, we'll definitely show that one as well. All right, gentlemen. So outside of that, what were our overall impressions of the book? Will, you want to start us off here?
I mean, I kind of covered the entire book just a second ago, but it's basically super short, it's super sweet, and it covers everything that a person needs to know on their introduction to cryptocurrency, like all right there in the book. It covers the banking, it covers the government prints money, it covers like what is Bitcoin, where does it come from, yada yada yada, like different types of currency, gold, fiat, etc., etc. It's just a quick little like. It almost, as you were saying in the green room earlier, it almost feels like a podcast. The book does because it's read by the author. So, that's my thoughts on the book. And Alan, you were saying earlier that you haven't read this one yet. It's super quick, super easy. It's like an hour long on 2x speed, which you have to listen to it on 2x because it's just, bro, the author is so fucking slow. I don't know if it was doing the same thing for you, Zenith, on your copy, but like when I opened the Audible file, this was the pace that he read.
Damn.
It was like you had to throw it at 2x just to be able to listen to the damn thing on like a normal speed. By the way, Z, we've got some more folks rolling in here for the chat shoutouts. You want to cover them real quick, and then I'll ask. Real quick
though, this book is actually in Spanish there's a small town called Berlin, like the city in Germany. In El Salvador, which a couple of really pioneers of Bitcoin trying to spread Bitcoin to El Salvador, they created a Bitcoin community center. In that book, I saw that in Spanish. So I'm sure that the El Salvadorians were enjoying that as well. But me personally, no, I did not read the book, but I'm definitely kind of already indulged in culture. And I found out about a book called maybe like 7 hours ago. So, you know, and I know I was at work, so I was like, all right, whatever. But it's all good. I'm here for the ride.
Excellent. And yes, real quick, we do have some folks coming in here. We got Mixed Mix, aka Jasole, says use an LCD device, only 1,200. Not entirely what you're referring to there, but hit us up, let us know. And then outside of that, we have a very, very near and dear friend to us, and that is none other than Tam Tan saying, hello, my lovelies. Good to see you as always. She's been doing fantastic work, by the way, hosting Twitter X Spaces every Tuesday at, I want to say 8 p.m. Eastern time, and helping people educate on the Pulse Chain ecosystem and everything going on over there. And also doing a pretty good job of the whole intro to crypto stuff, which we are talking about tonight. But either way, it's always a pleasure seeing you show up. So thank you. Thank you very much. Josh Soleil is saying that the devices are on eBay now. Oh my gosh. For those who don't know, what he's referring to is the Pulse Chain marketing devices that were set out. They were effectively little LCD erasable whiteboard things. They're super thin, very, very useful. I've been using those for years before these things even showed up. But let's see if we can actually find anything on Pulse. Ooh, here we go. Gents, how much do you think a current bid is going for right now?
$1,500.
How about
Oh, damn.
2,200.
Holy shit! We're bidding 2,200 for the for the devices. I'll tell you what, this is a fun like secondary marketing effect. I remember we were speculating on what these things are going to be sold for on eBay after they first come out. If you buy one for $2,200, then I got a lot of respect for you. I wish I had that kind of money to throw around. And hey, if you're buying these tablets for $2,200, consider buying the coin for $2,200 as well. If you've got that kind of money to throw around on a tablet, might be worth getting some of the actual tokens before they start doing their crazy things. Now, again, no financial advice here, but as it says on the little Chiron beneath me. But that's fucking nuts, man. Look at that.
Well, there's that one, and there's another one that's going for Quattro Cinco or best offer. So, take your pick.
Yeah. That is nuts. And Mr. Mix thanks us for our consistency. Absolutely, broski. We're back on the wagon now. All of us are back as like everyone was busy for the last 2 weeks. So here we are again. DGen Roundtable, getting back to streaming, getting back to doing the good stuff.
True. Alrighty. Speaking of getting back to the good stuff, I guess it's time to answer my own question. So,
yeah.
Overall impressions of the book. Like I said, this felt more like a podcast to me instead of doing the whole audiobook, considering my friend is having me read the history of the Peloponnesian War, and it's 22 hours long. So it's a good pause from that. What I appreciate about it is that it lays out all the major points that you really need to know, and it makes a good argument for it, and it does it in a timely fashion. Because of that, I know we're doing the end of the show stuff a little up front here, but this is a book that I would feel very comfortable just being like a quick recommendation to somebody if they like asked about crypto or like why should I care about this? Like what does it even do? Why is it so expensive? Be like, hey, I got this for you. I know it says 2 hours. You can probably blast through it in 1 hour if you double speed it, which you can totally do it, by the way. And it will cover everything from issues that we're seeing today with the current money system, why Bitcoin was made, a very brief synopsis on how it functions, so you understand the technology. And then it also gives you some best practices, how to get into it. And then it actually covers like a few basic strategies. And then also gives what I think is a very important part of the case, which is why it's here to stay. And it goes through that, and it talks about all the different players that are getting into the space, the evolution of how people have seen it, to where we get to the point now where it has established itself as something that is not going away anytime soon, if I had to guess. There might be something that makes it better, maybe in the next 10 years. But outside of that, no, this is a great case on how to lay out all the information you need, give them the pitch, and then give them a few of the tools to get onboarded. And then after that, you are kind of kicking people down the crypto rabbit hole, because that is a very, very deep rabbit hole. But it does everything you need to get people equipped, armed. And if someone is like fractionally interested in this stuff or is just curious about it, this will be the answer to most of the questions that they're going to have.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'll tell you.
I don't know if you're going to throw a question in there or what. I was waiting. I think.
Oh, no,
go ahead.
Here's my question for you. So, okay. Will, if you're going to build a sales pitch for anything, what are the things you're going to try to do inside of your sales pitch?
So you have to do a couple things, and I'm glad that you asked me this question. This is like my favorite question to answer. If you want somebody, all right, I'm gonna back it up a little bit, and we're just gonna completely forget about the idea of sales as a process of buying and selling. Every human interaction that you have with other people is a sales process. If you're talking to them or if they're talking to you, then you guys are both having a sales process back and forth of your ideas and whether or not you're going to buy into what the other person is saying. So if you want someone to buy what you're saying, you have to be solving their problem. You have to be interesting. You have to be on their team, yada, yada, yada. If you're in a debate with someone, if you're in an argument, then you're probably not doing a whole lot of buying. You're probably doing a whole lot of like protecting yourself and this, that, or the other thing. That's not a good way to share ideas. So if you want to sell someone something, what you have to do is you have to identify a problem that they have. You have to prove that you're on their team. and then you have to show them how you're going to solve their problem. You're not going to solve your own problem. You're there to solve their problems. The idea of sales is it's about servicing others. It's about being a helpful person that makes other people better. That's the idea of sales. So that's what you got to do. You have to identify a problem that they either know that they have or that they don't know that they have. And then you have to show them that you're on their team. And then you have to show them that you have a solution to their problem and you're here to make their world better. That's how you do the basics of a sales process.
Makes sense.
I did not expect you to ask that, Z. What's how does this possibly tie into to this book?
Well, I'm going to kick it over to Dr. Chen here, or Alan, if you will, which is that, okay, step one is we have to kind of like establish the issue at hand. So when it comes to pitching cryptocurrency, what is the main issue that we're just trying to fix here?
We're trying to ease transactions in the current system. To send large amounts of money is not easy, especially across state or country lines, and also make it accessible for everyone, which is not always the case in fiat currency. There's a lot of problems with fiat currency that makes life very miserable, and also the privacy aspect, which I'm sure it's going to cover. Bitcoin's going to cover the privacy of transactions. Like, I don't want the government knowing everything that I'm doing with my money. It's my money. I can do whatever the hell I want with it. So, kind of those main three components, I guess, are the kind of the draws to crypto in general. Like, let alone Bitcoin, but most crypto is those three draws.
Yeah, you're entirely correct. And you hit the nail right on the head there, which, if you could sum it up in like one phrase, it is the issues with fiat currency. And that is exactly what you lay out as the base work. And there's a plethora of issues with fiat currency, and also in particular the way that we issue it and use it in today's day and age. So that in and of itself is a very deep rabbit hole that you can go down. And if you spend too much time there, it definitely goes down the bit of the black pill area, which is like, oh, everything's screwed. Money isn't real, but the things I need to use it to buy are real. And then you can even go down like the whole Federal Reserve thing and get into fractional reserve banking. You can get into inflation, printing, debt spending, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's what hijacking Bitcoin was all about, huh? So I feel like we should have read that book first before hijacking Bitcoin.
A little bit.
I think we did hijacking Bitcoin.
Yeah, we did.
This one would have definitely been better. Yeah, this would have been a much better intro.
Wait, we did the wrong order.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Sue us, guys. Come after me. Take all my DRT bucks.
All right. So to kick it back to Will here, one of the things you said is we have to convince the other party that we're on the same team. Which of these issues do you think is going to be the easiest way that you could do that kind of thing? I mean, if you use dollars and I use dollars.
Yeah. You have to highlight that the thing that people are using isn't working the way that they want them to. Nobody wants to find out that the hammer they've been swinging is not driving these nails into the wood. No one wants to find out that the car they've been driving is actually it's got a shitty engine and it's falling apart. People want to know that the stuff that they're using is predictable and it has a good outcome and it allows them to interact with the world in a better way. So the biggest problem that I think people would have is that their system in which they use their financial transactions in the world, it's not set up to their benefit. Banks can freeze your money whenever they want to. You get ATM limit withdrawals. You go to spend your credit card and it declines at the place. The store that you're at doesn't. They're like, oh, we don't take cash here. There's a ton of problems that people have in regular everyday life where they're just trying to go about changing the value that they've created into the world, measured in dollars or yen or whatever, changing the value that they have for another item of different value somewhere else, and they can't get that. They've got a stuck transaction somewhere. So that's probably the sticking point. That's probably the main problem that you can relate to with people with introducing the idea that Bitcoin is or cryptocurrency in general is a better system of transaction and stuff. So I think that would be the major sticking point. Did you have a different thought, Z?
No, that makes sense to me. I think that the easiest way, I think that this book kind of sells itself based on the time frame that it was written in. It was published in 2023 from what I can tell. And one of the things that really dates it is that it talks about crypto ETFs, namely the Bitcoin spot ETF, was filed but not approved. And the Bitcoin ETF was approved back in January of 2024. So it has to predate that. But at the same time, this book was pretty much written and published during a time when we were experiencing a lot of inflation here in the United States. We spent probably a good year there at about 10% or slightly higher. And then after that, it was still at like 4% and higher. And people noticed a lot of this going on. So in and of itself, the book existed in a time where some of the issues that it's trying to cover are just widely prevalent. So does the book do a great job of establishing everything? I think it does a pretty good job, but I think that it also really benefits just from the time when it was released. And pretty much the first half of the entire book is just covering everything you just talked about there. They go into what is money versus currency, all the issues with fiat currency and the problems facing us with the US dollar. And then it covers what is cryptocurrency and then what is blockchain technology that backs cryptocurrency. That's half the book right there. And that's only 4 chapters out of 11. That's also not including the little like introduction and the preface and all that stuff. So we already spent a good chunk of time in this, what is effectively a sales pitch, just building the base of here's the issue, here's what we're going with. And then the rest of it is just selling it and giving you the benefits, the pros, and some use cases as well. So overall, I think that this book does a really good job of understanding that when you're making this pitch, a lot of it is explaining, okay, how did we get here? What are we doing about it? And that kind of stuff. And This is stuff that we've talked about like a lot ad nauseum. I mean, we are a cryptocurrency investment channel. So this is the stuff we talk about every day. Like hell, I'm talking about it on Sunday when it comes to more issues with fiat currency, namely the Federal Reserve. But yeah, step 1 is always identify the issue. Step 2 is give a solution. And then step 3 is kind of explain it. So overall, I think this is a pretty good foundation. Is there anything that you would have added early on into the book, or is this what you would about expect?
I would have probably put more. So this book is written. There's a couple different ways to sell things, right? Or there's a couple different ways that you can write things. You can write as a copywriter, which is a person whose job it is to get someone interested in the next thing that's about to be said. You can write things from like a scientific perspective, which is where you just include a lot of information and you're not really focusing on persuading. You're not really focused on people taking action. Or you can oh shoot, I can't remember what the third option is. I'd have to look it up. But it's basically those are the two general things. Is you've got information based and you've got interest based. The only thing that I would have done probably a little bit differently, and perhaps this is why I have not written any books, is I would have done more in the world of trying to generate interest and trying to get people to realize that they have I would have focused more on the reader than the information. I would have put more incentive in the beginning of the book, more like, hey, this is a problem that you have. I'm personally more fond of copywriting than of like research paper stuff, because like everything in life is marketing. If you've heard about it, it's been marketed and it's made it to you. No matter if it's a Coca-Cola commercial, no matter if it's a story about how the World Trade Center towers got knocked over, no matter if it's a class on how to disassemble and reassemble your engine for your car or something. If you know it, it's because it's been marketed to you. It's because somebody took the time to get the information into your head. Like most of the things in life that we know, we don't know because we found it accidentally. We found it because somebody went through the effort to put it there and give it to us, and you happen to like stumble across it. So I'm a big fan of copywriting and a big fan of marketing and a big fan of getting things in front of people so that way they have access to stuff. Because if it's not taught, it's not learned. So that's one thing that I would have done a little bit differently. What about you? Or what about Alan? Have you guys? Is there anything that either of you guys would have injected in there a little bit differently?
I didn't read the book, so I can't really comment on that. But please go on, Zenith.
I don't know if there's much more I would have added. I think I like how tight the book is, so I don't want to add a whole lot of extra. I think that it gives a really good explanation of the issues that we're facing. And then it does a good introduction of, okay, what exactly is cryptocurrency and why does it solve all these issues that we just laid out? Because it goes down the list of like fiat currency has inflation with fractional reserve banking. It gets printed into infinity. The debt cycles and debt printing just absolutely just crushes nations entirely sometimes. And then this is a way to pretty much escape all that. And here's how it does it. So, I mean, one of the things that really harp on is the fact that there's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be printed. They pretty much spend like 10 minutes being like, oh yeah, this country printed into infinity. This country printed into infinity. The US is currently printing to almost near infinity, but this one actually has a limit and you can see how much it is. And by the way, we know when the last one's coming out. It's right there. So I don't know. It's hard to argue against that for me.
I've got a question for Alan. You might not have read the book, broski, but like when you hear the word Bitcoin, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Like someone says that word. Yeah.
Well, a year ago it would have been freedom, but I'm not totally sure about that because we dug into the conspiracy theories already. But that's a good question. It's not that efficient anymore. That's the other thing that's changed. Because specifically Bitcoin, but I'm trying to think about what you're going for here. But let's go with sovereignty.
Okay, yeah. That's pretty much what I would think. What about you, Z? What's the first thing you think about when you hear the word Bitcoin?
Oh gosh, I'm probably a little too tainted on this one because I've just been dealing with it so much. But Bitcoin for me is just like alternative currency.
Yeah, I'm part of the CIA might have made Bitcoin camp. You know, it's like I wonder if they did that. Are we ready for the world where the CIA was actually the one that started Bitcoin? Where it turns out that Satoshi Nakamoto is really Hunter Biden. My theory came true. And and we're all just living in good old crackhead Parmesan cheese world over here. Now, like I think that it's important for folks at home to think about like what is Bitcoin. When you hear about Bitcoin, what's the first thing that you think of? It was the first in. It was the best dressed. It was what brought sovereignty and freedom to a whole lot of people, to a whole lot of countries, to a whole lot of businesses, to a whole lot of folks that like. They were drowning in a world of useless bullshit where they were getting their banks frozen. They were getting what was it the 2008 housing financial crisis. There's a whole bunch of shit that was going on that people were getting sick of. And so when Bitcoin came out, it's like, oh shoot, I can buy drugs on the internet, hooray! And now it's like it's part of your retirement package. It's an ETF offered by BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. It's totally changed in the use case and the adoption and the distribution, and like we've even got governments, we've got businesses using it as assets under management. So like, what is Bitcoin to you? Something for the folks at home to think about, anyways. But I don't want to hijack your show, Zenith. What else you got for us?
You're good. All right, so that takes us to what is effectively the next step. So we laid out the problem, we made the pitch, and then we actually get into some kind of like practical stuff, which is showing us how to actually use it. So next 3 chapters are how to buy it, how to store it, how to take profits on it. That seems pretty fundamental. And if you can do all of that in 3 chapters in what is pretty much a half an hour, that seems like a pretty easy pitch for like, hey, this is actually not as complicated as it might be made out to seem. So going through that, and does it in a very tight, consistent way to do it. Just, hey, go find an exchange, go see if it's available in your area. Do you like this one better than another exchange? Cool, buy it there. And then we get to storing it. It's like, cool, here's how you can store it. You can either keep it on the exchange, you can hot wallet, you can cold wallet, and boom. And then lastly, it's like, all right, so now that you got the thing, what are you trying to do with it? All right, obviously we're either here to hedge against inflation, in which case, congratulations, you don't need to do much. Or if you're trying to use it as more of an investment vehicle, then here are the ways that people have been making profits, and here's how you can build a strategy to take profits yourself. And the interesting thing about this one for me is the guy straight up talks about, he's like, look, if you are not super technically adept, you don't have a ton of time to watch markets, then probably buying and holding is your strategy. If you have the ability to look at the charts and do some technical analysis and keep up with everything going on, then guess what? There's a good chance you can do pretty well trading. But at the same time, though, the guy does give the giant grain of salt, which is like, look, trading potentially is a great way to get wrecked. Some of the people that have made the most money in this space do trading, but at the same time, you can get wrecked. Risk. So it goes into that there. At this point, does that seem like the next logical step, or is there anything in between that you guys would interject there?
From
We went
money
to
option to trading investment.
Going from we identified the problem, we told them about the product. Now we're saying here's how you can get the product, keep the product, and make money on the product.
Oh yeah. That would definitely be the next logical step.
Dig it. All right. So tell you what, let's kick it back to a different book that we read. Will, do you remember the equation from Alex Hormozi when it comes to the value proposition of an offer?
Oh man. Fuck. It was so simple. I remember because I watched his slideshow. It's always I don't remember it off the top of my head, but that's a good question, Zenith. I wish I did. What is it? Tell us. Or I could Google it real quickly.
I think I know. Wait,
Get it. Go for it, Alan.
It's the outcome over the
you got four
likelihood.
parts.
Yeah,
Four parts.
The outcome.
Yep.
The likelihood of getting that outcome.
Yep, that's both items on the top.
Over the time and effort.
Boom, nailed it. That is right.
Math, Asian.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there we go.
Let me see if I
Dream
can pull this up.
outcome times perceived likelihood of achievement divided by the time delay times the effort and sacrifice. Yep, there you go.
There you go. So we've already gone through pretty much every step of this, and we're about like 2/3 of the way through the book. So the dream outcome is you alleviate all your problems. So you hedge against inflation, you even make some money. Perceived likelihood of achievement. Well, we've given the use case for some of this stuff, and you have already seen the price appreciation of the asset. Next up, we have time delay and the effort of sacrifice. Well, the effort and sacrifice, we just covered all that in 3 chapters pretty much. Here's how you buy it, here's how you store it, here's how you sell it. Does that seem like a lot of effort?
Nope. Easy day.
The only big one that I don't think we've entirely covered here is time delay, which is cool. We told you all about this thing, but how long are you going to wait to make money on this?
Mm-hmm.
In certain cases, the answer is years. In other cases, could be weeks, depending on if you try to go the trading route versus the holding route. So overall, I mean, it's this is why I like the way that this book is laid out, because it hits multiple ways that you can do the sales stuff. We cover the value proposition here, and we also cover basic sales tactics of establishing the issue, providing the solution, and then making it easier to get in there. So overall, like, that's why I wanted to do this one as a bit of a masterclass on how to do the onboarding process. Because I know I can attest personally, definitely get held up on or way too in the weeds on some of the technologies and answering the questions about like the double spend issue, and then the private and public addresses for cryptography and multi-factor authentication. And then what exactly is a cold wallet? Well, it's kind of like a handshake on top of the already established cryptography. That's just one more degree of separation, yada, yada, yada. So that's why it's nice when we do get someone who can really just condense it and put it into that good stuff and just get it out quickly.
Yeah. Berlin, the town that I talked about, it's a small town. It's like you can walk the whole town in an hour. They all use Bitcoin. They all use Lightning wallets. And it took a little bit it was a lot of resistance because everybody's used to actually having cash. So it's like, well, why not use cash or whatever? And also they were starting to use more credit cards too. So credit cards in itself, for those who don't know, there's like charges. You have to, the companies will charge you like a fee to use them, and then also you may not get the money right away for when you charge the credit cards. So there's your time delay for credit cards concerned. But with Bitcoin, with the Lightning wallet, literally when I put my phone up on the QR code, instant they get their money, and that was probably the biggest selling point for those people, and a lot of El Salvador too. was if anybody's owned a business that has handled credit card transactions, you'll sort of appreciate this, where having that as like you get your money instantly, like is just does wonders. And the transactions are we can list them out, you can organize them pretty well, all that. So you take that's a huge thing that we probably undersell on Bitcoin, is just the speed of transactions. Now there's other side issues with Bitcoin that is a little bit beyond probably what this book is going to show you, but from that perspective, though, that's kind of how they sold it to just a small town and maybe 10,000 people. They sold it to those guys. Is they were able to tell everybody it's very little time and sacrifice. You just got to get the wallet, download it, and then and start transacting on it. And then also the speed at which you get the money, you get it instantly.
Yep. And it's done. It's irrefutable. You can't go back. You can't cancel the transaction 30 days after it's already happened. It's the genius of Hormozy's little graph there is when you can get the time delay down to just about zero, and you can get the effort and sacrifice as close to just about zero as possible, then by reducing the amount of bad thing of the stuff under the line, the denominator, then you skyrocket the value of the thing it is that you're offering. So that was genius. I like that El Salvador does that too. Berlin's a nice place. You guys should go visit.
Make sure you fly to the correct Berlin.
Yes. Berlin.
There's no airport in Berlin, El Salvador. There's no
airport in Berlin. Yeah, it's a tiny little mountain town. Maybe a couple thousand people live there, but super cool. Shout out to the Whale Lounge and all the Bitcoiners over there. Love you guys.
There you go. Alrighty. Well, that right there is pretty much how you can get jumped in. The last portion of the book here covers 4 more chapters, and that is why Bitcoin is here to stay. Talks about arguments in favor of it, adoption trends, decentralization, the global reach, the scarcity, resistance to censorship. Chapter 9 is the popularity and value of cryptocurrencies, what gives us demand, what is the network effect, what does supply and demand have to do with this? And then the last 2 is beginner traps and scams, just common mistakes. Here's just a few things. Don't do this. And then lastly is putting it into practice, which is how to begin, what to watch out for, and then building a roadmap for next steps for someone who is new, whether it's getting further into the space from looking at other options or just doing more research into Bitcoin only, that kind of stuff. So would you guys consider... Yeah, protect your seed phrases. Your seed phrases are between you and God. No one else.
Please.
Yeah. All right. So last third of the book. How vital would you say that this kind of information is to the overall pitch?
I would say that it's less vital than the first part, but it's it's important background information that you have to consider at some point, so that you might as well get started thinking about it now. It's not the world's most critical information, but it's going to be part of your journey of sovereignty and enlightenment, I would say. What about you? What do you think, Alan?
What was the last part of the book about?
It's about the larger concepts of Bitcoin, like the decentralization, the volatility, the political stuff, the speculation about adoption and whatnot. It's less about the individual problem. It's more about what is it on a larger scale kind of thing.
Okay. What do I think about that?
Is that vital to the sales pitch part?
No, not to the individual. Now, this is a general investing concept, and it's not new to anybody. But diversify. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's never going to end well for you. That being said, though, whenever there's a lot of money on the line, there's bound to be corruption. That's just kind of a fact of life at this point. I guess to the person that's starting out, do they really need to know that? Probably not. That's sort of you're digging into the weeds a little bit. Certainly, the folks in Berlin probably don't need to know that right now. As long as they're happy with getting their money. It's just for the person that's more interested in how this all works. That's probably a good place to start, and then you can start digging into the history and how how everything's evolving.
Makes sense. I think that you guys are entirely right, which is that I don't think this part of the book is necessarily like core to the pitch when you're trying to onboard somebody. But the way that I looked at this section was that this is kind of handling some of those common objections you might get. So chapter 8, why Bitcoin is here to stay. Someone says like, okay, I understand it, but like, why do you have so much faith in this? Like, why do you want me to put my hard-earned money into this? And it's like, well, because here's your high probability of success. Here's all the other people that are using it for X, Y, and Z. Here's all the different players that are in the space and it's only growing. That kind of stuff. The next one's popularity and value. Talks about network effect, utility, supply and demand, speculative interest. It's like, okay, well, why price go up? Why is that chance? Well, here are the factors going into it. Here's how much Bitcoin's getting released. Here's how much institutional demand is building up. Here's all the new players that are trying to only establish more and more and more, and maybe even get like a reserve of it. And then chapter 10, beginner traps and scams. It's like, yeah, well, I heard my cousin knew a guy who had a friend that got scammed, or he knew a drug dealer that was using Bitcoin. It's like, okay, let's get the low hanging fruit out of the way.
Yeah,
Is
that's
the-
when you're dealing with the people who aren't really like hot leads that aren't there. It's you guys remember the Wolf of Wall Street book where he's like, sell me this pen, and then the guy's like, do you want a pen? And he's like, no, and he's like, well then no, I'm not going to sell you this fucking pen. You know, it's like you
Yes.
can you address those problems when you're at a position of bounty enough to like be addressing those problems, and until that point, then it's like it's good background information.
No, that's a fantastic caveat. It's why sell you this pen if you're not in the market for a pen? Why would you spend 2 hours listening to an audiobook about Bitcoin if you're not in the space to try to buy Bitcoin? If you're never going to do it, why spend the time here? So I think it's a good caveat to the whole thing in general, which is like, understand when it comes to onboarding, I know sometimes in the crypto space, we get a little too enthusiastic. We start talking people's ears off, even if they didn't want to hear it in the first place. So that is that soft skill there, which is like understand the audience, understand if they're actually interested, or if this is just someone at the event that they're required to be at and they're a captive audience and you are just filling up the time before they can leave and go back to their car and go home. That kind of stuff.
Are they forced to be there or not?
Yeah. I mean, to take another lesson from the old Way of the Wolf book, one of the things he talks about in that is that when you get your first no, that's when your sales process really starts. That's when your job really hits the road running, which is once you get to that first no, you got to start handling the objections and start handling all the concerns so you can get to the close so you can actually seal the deal. So I mean, the back, go for it.
I was going to take it a totally different direction. Finish your thought.
Oh, I was going to say the back half of the book, I think, handles objections, and it also gives a pretty positive spin in each of the different aspects as well. What direction were you going to take it, good sir?
I was going to start down a whole different path of when you start getting your prospect or your counterpart to say no, you start empowering them and giving them the feeling of being in charge and the feeling that you're actually on their team. I'll do this thing whenever I call anybody, and like I'm on the phone. The first thing that I after like aloha, hello, it's like the next question I ask is, this is a bad time, or did I catch you at a bad time? Most often it's a good time, which means I'm eliciting a no response from people. I'm phrasing the question in such a way that they get to say no in the very beginning of the phone call, so that way they can tell me no, and that way they can feel more at ease. They can feel more in charge. They're in control of their destiny. Now I'm dropping breadcrumbs in front of people, but like, they're free to answer however they wish. It's like, oh, it actually is a bad time. I got to do X, Y, and Z. It's like, okay, cool beans, call you back or whatever. Right. But if you give them that no in the very beginning, then this is just part of like how you can make friends and influence people is you give them little dopamine hits. You give them little powerful sprinklings here and there all over wherever they're at. So that's what I was going to take it. But like, you're right. It is important to also address the objections and to take care of all the oh, but what if this, or what about that, stuff. And that's what the end of the book is all about. It's all the handling the objections and getting people reframed and educating them on the the more less sexy aspects of Bitcoin.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might have hit on something that's pretty important there, which is one of the big things that we watch out for in the space are pump and dump scams. And in those things, it very much seems like a kind of event. And they even talk about this in the book, which is that social media is a double-edged sword, which is that you can get a lot of good information, you can learn a lot, but at the same time, especially when it comes to the crypto and especially low cap, like meme coin type stuff, it can absolutely just be used as a thing to get people into the pump and dump scam before they just get dumped on and they end up as the bag holders. So when it comes to trying to avoid that kind of thing, it's important to make sure that people understand that there's a lot of personal accountability and responsibility that comes with this kind of space, because you're playing on hard mode. You're driving the manual car. You are in charge of all the different gears here. But at the same time, though, like you got to be careful to ensure that you're not getting suckered into a thing. The way that you can do that is by being in control. So when you're making the overall pitch for crypto, I know it can definitely come across as like, we want you to get in on this because we want to steal your money or whatever. So when it comes to what you're talking about there, which is if you can have the conversation with the other party also feeling empowered the whole way and not just feel like they walked onto the used car salesman lot, I think it's going to go a long way for trying to really make that argument and have it connect with the person that you're talking to.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, that's all 11 chapters right there. That's all of it.
Welcome to Short Book Club, boys.
That's true. If you wanted to add anything else onto this book, what would you guys add? Because I think we covered like pretty much all the bases pretty well. The only thing we really didn't get into was like altcoins and then like DeFi. But for some people, that's a big draw. Like, what kind of stuff would you talk about if you could?
Go ahead, Alan.
That should be a separate book. Like, I don't think that particular audience that grabbed that book and read it wants to know altcoins right off the bat. I mean, there could be a small introduction to it, but I don't know. I feel like a book would not cover altcoins all that well. You almost like have to experience it, if that makes any sense, rather than theorizing about it.
Okay. Well, you think you make the let's hear it.
Awesome,
let's try it.
The thing that I would change about this book is in the very front of the book, I would put the word fuck and then Bitcoin, and then in between the two in very small print, it would be fuck knowing all about Bitcoin. And then in the background is just a big set of cleavage and a big set of titties. And that's how you get people to read this book. That's how you get people interested. Sex fucking sells. And a lot more people would pick up this book if it said fuck Bitcoin, but in between it's like fuck knowing all, or fuck not knowing about Bitcoin or whatever that, and then fucking big ol' set of bazonkas right there. That's what I would do to change this book, because honestly, it's a great book. It's a fantastic book. It's good at selling. It covers everything that you need to know. It's short. It's sweet. The only thing that it's missing is the juicy zazz razzmatazz that gets people to get past the first point. If you see a headline on a news article and you don't click on it, the headline wasn't good enough. If you see a book and you don't pick it up, then the cover of the book wasn't good enough. We're getting in the day and age where we have to compete more and more and more for attention, for getting people to click on things, for getting people to listen, to getting people to tune in. Shout out to the 68 of you that are watching us right now. We've got 4 people over on Alan's Twitter. We've got 5 people on the YouTube channel. And then we've got 59 people over on the DGen Roundtable X channel. So, like, if you guys are listening right now, then that part of our copywriting was good, or you're a part of our community. Something somewhere worked, right? The marketing, the messaging, the community, the feeling, something somewhere worked. And what I'm saying is, if you want more people to pick up the book about Bitcoin, you got to make them feel, whether they're feeling happy, whether they're feeling horny, whether they're feeling sad, whether they're feeling disgusted. If you get people to feel something, then you can influence their behavior, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. We want more people to be on our team. We want people to be using the tools that are effective. We want people to be doing all the awesome stuff. It's a spoonful of sugar that helps the medicine go down. A nice big set of tits on the front cover of a book. So there you guys go. That's my my sprinkling of magic that I would put on this book, but it might not sell very well.
Will, I'm pretty sure I've discussed this with you, but Zenith, what do you think the average attention span of an adult is nowadays?
Oh gosh,
what's the time in time?
I feel like I saw this stat recently. I want to say it's sub 30 seconds now.
Okay, that's not a bad guess. 8 seconds. 8 seconds. So like literally on any short out there on Instagram, if you don't get to them in 2 seconds, like you're done. Like that's why you see like those curves that go like down when the video's not great. When you have a decent curve that's like kind of like this, like that's a better video. But anyway, yeah, Will's right about that. Like it's probably how we got so extreme too. Like, how we have very polarizing political figures right now, because it's just all this like pizzazz that just like fires at you like a bazooka. It fires right at you, and then you start paying attention. But the thing is, like, if you're not that extreme, if you're not a clown, both two things, if you're not a clown or if you're not a sexy woman, it's going to be hard for you to really convince people. So like, and I'm not neither of those. So it makes it hard for me to like sell hard work and medicine without pharmaceuticals. It makes it hard because I don't have those two things at my disposal. Maybe I could figure out a way to integrate that, but at this time, that's not at my disposal. But yeah, like it's funny that Will brought that up. But yeah, it's unfortunately true.
People like explosions. People like cats. People like watching babies do their little like smile laugh thing that they do. There's all sorts of stuff. There's all sorts of emotions that we can elicit. Tits are a good easy one to just slap on there. But like there's a ton of things. The point is though, you got to make people feel. And then like they have to get over that initial flashpoint of energy. Ooh, look, we got a comment from Mr. Moonpill. What do we got here, Z?
It was Operation Oversex. Aaron Clare reviewed that book. It was good, and that's how we found this book we reviewed tonight. By the way, thanks for the book recommendation. I think we enjoyed it, and it was a good, short, sweet thing. And I hope that we've taken this in an interesting direction. Yes, Mr. Will, Mr. Moonpill Rational Optics is definitely agreeing with you.
That's because I'm always right, broski. You got good taste. I approve.
That's one way of putting it. Gosh, Will, I know you said you haven't written a book yet, but I'm pretty sure you've written 2 books.
I've written a couple books, but those were written by AI. I was the creator and the maestro. I did not do the physical writing myself. If you guys want to learn more about some of the thoughts that are trapped up inside my head and check out the unfinished rough draft of a book that I'm sort of kind of working on, you can go to bit.ly// The Ledger Must Balance. It's a book that covers the 6 pillars of value that human beings trade for other pillars of value. I'll just break it down real quick. You've got time, energy, attention, money, health, and physical resources. Oh no, excuse me. Replace like energy and attention is one thing. Physical resources, and then also like your brand, your reputation. So people trade these 6 things for these other 6 things. Take a look at Shaquille O'Neal. He is trading his reputation for money by saying, you guys should buy Papa John's pizza. I'm Shaquille O'Neal and I brought you this message. If you trust me, then you'll eat Papa John's. Or people will trade, like young people will trade their time and their health for money. They'll go down and they'll work in the coal mines and they'll trade their time, because they have an abundance of time, because they're young, they'll trade it for money. Whereas old people, they will not trade their time for money. You don't see old people going and working for $5 an hour. You see them spending hundreds of dollars an hour to get a couple extra years or like hundreds and thousands of dollars to get a couple extra years, months, and whatever the heck out of life, so that way they can live a little bit longer. So that's what this book is that I've sort of kind of written. I've also written a cookbook, which I've got like 4 of them left. So if you guys want a copy of the cookbook, let me know. And they're $10 each, and I think I've got maybe 2 of them. But yeah, the Tower Climbers Cookbook, The Ledger Must Balance, and and also a kid's book about about some cars and things. So I have written, but not seriously. So thank you for that, Zenith. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, do you know those like mouse pads that have the integrated wrist rest thing? You ever seen the ones that are made to look like a pair of boobs?
Oh yeah, the tits and ass mouse pads. Those things are awesome. Hell
I was
yeah.
gonna say, if you were gonna write like your next series book for publish, I feel like you'd find a way to integrate that technology into the cover of your book.
Oh man, that's a fucking. It wouldn't fit on shelves, but hey, do you want
Packaging
my
would
book
be
to be on
a
a
would be
shelf?
a hell of a
Or do you
logistical
want
problem.
it to be? Yeah, yeah. You don't want my books to be on shelves when I write books. You want my books to be underneath your mouse pad so you can feel those juicy bazonkazonks.
Hey, another trivia question. What is the highest grossing book besides the Bible? So it's not the Bible. Take the Bible out of the question.
$100 million offers. Oh no, not that one. The newest Alex Hormozy book.
50 Shades of Grey.
Oh yeah. It's all about how you make people feel. It's all about how you make people
Yeah.
feel. And that book
We used to live
was
in a
not
society.
marketed. No. That book it was the answer to the question that nobody was asking. Nobody was asking, like, man, like, how come we've got so many horny girls that just don't have a solution to their mental horny problem? And so fucking whoever the hell wrote 50 Shades of Grey, and she solved that problem. And now you've got horny girls everywhere that are like, yes, now I have a thing that I can read and get all of my fantasies out there. So like the market will provide a solution to the problem. You just got to figure out what's the problem. You got to figure out how many people have it, and are they going to pay you buku bucks to get it solved? So there you go.
We went from Bitcoin to 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, that's our line of thought, guys.
I'm just like, people will buy what makes them feel good.
Yeah.
I guess. All right. Well, tell you what, I'll answer my own question at the end of this after a bit of a tangent there. If I could add anything else to the book, it would be an appendix, which is here's some of the other areas to go down, which is what we talked about previously. Other altcoins like Ethereum, Solana, Layer 1s, maybe some like utility projects like an AI project or some other lending protocol or something like that. And then DeFi is, gosh, its own appendix on its own about like, here's all the starting points. Have fun with that rabbit hole. But overall, though, no, I like the fact that this book is 2 hours. I like that it's tight, and I like that it gives I like that it lays out the argument the way that it does. So, tell you what, gentlemen, it is that time. I think we got to rate this thing. So, on the scale of 0 to 10,000 hours of mastery, where would you put this one?
As far as the rating for this book goes, I would say that this belongs in like hour number 1. Like this is something you need at the very beginning. So right in the beginning of the journey. And I'd also just realized, by the way, that like we're both typing under the same profile name, Zenith. So we're gonna get mixed messages in the chats. Love you all. But I think that this book should be read in the very beginning of the journey to financial success. What about you, Alan? Just based on what you've heard us talk about, where do you think people should start reading this book in their journey from nothingness to excellence?
I actually think before you start on Bitcoin, you should know general finance as a whole. So I would go a little bit beyond that. I would go 300. Because if you don't understand how money works, how money moves, how money flows, you might be getting into something that you should not be getting into. So if you can understand those concepts first, like just basically, what does your dollar in your hand mean exactly? You're trading. It's the value of time. That's actually another good book that I don't know if you guys did this already, but Naturopath Economics was the one that explained this to me by Aaron Clary.
Oh yeah.
He said that money is a function of time. So is my time. So I get paid an X amount of money to do my job. It gets paid more than a waiter. So what is my time? This dollar represents like what's my time worth versus the waiter. I'm not going to say what I get paid, but anyway, what's the value of time actually? Which is actually what since I read that book, like I think I read that about maybe 10 years when it first came out. I think it was 10 years ago. It was a while ago. Wow. That started cluing me into like, going down many more rabbit holes, but understanding just the basic concepts of money, then you can get into the concepts of Bitcoin and crypto, because it can be very, elusive to some people. It was for me when I started getting into crypto. I was like, what the hell is like this numbers on a screen? What are these things? I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And if you sort of understand like how money works, I think that needs to happen first before actually getting into any crypto.
Okay, I like that. That makes sense for sure. I'm split between you two because initially my snap reaction was with Will, which is like I would feel pretty comfortable just like throwing this book at anybody and just be like, hey, here's a good starting point. Here's kind of explains what crypto is. But Alan, you have a very good point there, which is like I think that is also a little presumptive of me, which is that I think that someone is already has a good fundamental grasp of like what is money, what are the issues that you're dealing with money, and that kind of stuff. And this is a purported solution to that kind of thing. So I don't know if I'm going to go through. Go for it, please. Sorry.
We've all seen the young kids, like 16 to like 24 kids, who happen to strike rich on a coin, and they're now like multimillionaires all of a sudden. And this is sort of where I'm getting at. They have a really poor concept of money because most of them blow it on like hoes and cars and houses and shit like that. Because they don't have the general concept of money and how to what savings means and all the other stuff. And when you don't have the concept of money first in your mind, like it can make that kind of a situation much more inflammatory. And there's a saying out there, I think it was Tate that said this actually. Money is just an amplifier. If you're a douchebag at baseline, you're just a douchebag with money. And you could and potentially could do worse things. But anyway, that's sort of what I kind of like the baseline of that. What I was going at was if you don't know how to use the money, like the lottery winners, the ones that hit the jackpots. Most of them get depressed or they they overdose or shit like that because they didn't have a concept of money beforehand, and now they're just the way they are just with money, and they don't know how to deal with it. So like now what do you do? Like, and it goes beyond just like having dollars in your hand. There's value, there's time, there's your morals, or your not just value in terms of money, but values in terms of your own values, your own beliefs. Did you really have those in the beginning that you can do some good with that money? Those kinds of concepts need to happen first before getting into like these kinds of nowadays cryptocurrency is a little bit more mainstream, but like it used to be the kind of esoteric. And I think what do we have for usage? I think it's still 5% of the population still uses any crypto. Does that sound right?
I believe that's globally.
Okay, so that makes sense. Maybe in the US is a little higher than that.
I'll look it up real quick.
Rocket though, but yeah, like so. Anyway, yeah, it's that's where I was getting at with my number. Yeah.
Uh, 2022 survey data indicates 4.3% of U.S. households owned cryptocurrency. See if I want to say there was a 2024 study.
It takes about a year at least to compile.
Gallup in July of 2025, 14% of U.S. adults own cryptocurrency, ownership being the highest, 25% among men aged 18 to 49. Morning Consult Spring 2025, 1 in 5 Americans owned at least one form of crypto in April 2025, a significant increase from the earlier years. Harris Poll, April 2025, roughly 21% of U.S. adults own crypto, representing approximately 55 million people.
Okay. Pretty respectable. But yeah, you might be around the world percentage. It might be 5% for the world. Yeah, which makes sense.
Let's see. Global estimates. Around 562 million people owned cryptocurrency in 2024, representing roughly 6.8% of the world's population.
That wasn't that far off.
Yeah. Some different numbers, but I think about that, like just sub 10% makes sense. All right, I guess let's finish the question here. All right. Do you need
Yeah, let's look at numbers more.
My bad.
We need more numbers.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Do you need to know what money is in order to be interested in trying to hedge against inflation, overreach of governments, and protecting your dollar from inflation? Yes. At the same time, though, the way that this book is written, the way it gives a good pitch, and the way that it doesn't get too deep, but it covers the bases, I'm very cool with this being a, oh gosh, like 10 hours book. I feel like we can get enough information in 10 hours to get you up to speed to be able to look at an alternative. I think that makes sense to me. Although maybe a little bit higher if we want to talk about some other stuff, just like traditional investments, stocks and bonds, that kind of stuff, personal finance. That would also be a very big one too. But yeah, overall, the general consensus is that this is an early on book. This is not Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, where you have to go through 36 hours of an audiobook learning about all the different parts of the invisible hand of the market and everything there. No. This is tight, it's concise, and it's a good pitch. It's a good intro. It's that nice little gateway hit for someone that's crypto curious to getting them on board to understand what this is, what this is, not what people have told me, and how could I theoretically get into it if I wanted to in like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'll also add, this is my education bias. I had a brief stint in public education, which I could talk about another time. But we don't learn anything about money in grade school. Like how much actual like money education do we really get in grade school, college, and medical school? I would say it's not very much at all. Mainly, I learned a lot of calculus. That was useful. But not so much about like, taxes, budgeting, all that crap. Like that's sort of where like those things need to happen. Again, where my number came from was the general population is really, really shitty with money in general. So yeah,
the state that creates money is not going to empower you, the citizen who the state wants to control, by giving you knowledge about the thing with which they use to control you. So don't look for money education from schools or from like public schools specifically. Look for it from teachers. Look for it from tutors. Look for it from real life example. Look for it over in YouTube or like just interacting with stuff in real life. That's my 2 cents that I would give folks. Sorry to cut you off there, Alan.
No, but like we're in a bubble where we all we or the people that we hang out with are very well versed in these things, but especially when I talk about health, you'd be surprised at like how far away that people are in terms of like knowing the basics of like what the things I talk about. I've learned that the hard way. Trying to think about like how to get further engagement on my socials. You really have to really get down to the basics in a lot of things, which unfortunately that's a product of our culture and our society right now. But yeah, that I would say, we've seen it all. I would say that like, yeah, the knowledge of things that we think are mundane may not be there in the general population. So yeah.
True. Alan, you're referencing we don't teach money in schools reminded me of a memory I had back when in third grade for me. I remember, I think it was like a history class or something, and we were getting towards the end of the lecture or whatever, and then the teacher asked for like questions, and I asked like I asked what is money, and they're like, oh, it's like $1, it's where you buy things, and I was like, yeah, but like where does it come from? And I remember the teacher looked up at the clock, saw that there was like 10 minutes left, sighed, and then was like, all right, you guys can work on that thing I just gave you time to do. You bring your chair over to my desk. And then I watched this man like have an aneurysm as he was like trying to like himself conceptualize what it is and then put it in words for a third grader of like, here's where money comes from. It's like, yes, but like, how do they just make it? It's like,
it's not real.
Yeah, so apologies to my teacher. I know I tortured you with that one, but I appreciate you trying to honestly try to explain it to a third grader as little use as it did, but much appreciated.
Speaking of awesome people that we appreciate, before we go and round out the show, we should do another round of Mr. Zenith of these delicious and juicy chat shoutouts. What do you say?
Yes, sir. All right. Up first, we got Frank White. It says, bang, bang, DGen gang. Good to see you, sir. coming in as always. And another good friend, Dr. H, the cryptopractor, says, hey, D-Gens, effing good to see you. Good to see you too, sir. Hope you're having an excellent time up there in the Great White North. Next up, we got Moon-Pilled Rational Optics. He says, funny thing was, this wasn't the first book I read from this author. Interesting. Let's see what else he wrote. We got Anthony Robinson. Anthony Robinson is apparently a soccer player. Let's look up the author. Novelist and story writer. Ba-ba-da-ba. That is also the wrong author as well. I will get back to you at a later date on this one. Apparently there are a lot of people named. All right. It's not legal advice. Also, my legal advice is don't break the laws. But theoretically, if you were going to get a fake ID, Anthony Robinson apparently is not a bad name for it.
Same with Alan Chen, by the way. I'm very well anonymized. Okay. If we're going to get into that, I have a story for you. So,
let's go.
There's another Alan Chen where I did residency. He's a cardiologist. It's spelled exactly the same way. So I get all of his emails of all these random ass cardiology patients that I don't care about because they're not my patients. And I got to the point where I started trolling everybody. It's like where like because it was just hilarious that I'm getting these and then I CC'd the other Alan Chen too, and then he was just like, uh-oh. Because obviously if emails, especially in the health sphere with HIPAA and all that stuff, get to other people that they shouldn't be getting to, that could cause a problem. So I ended up responding to it and then CCing the other Alan Chen. And then they got the message like, oh, wrong one.
There you go. Good stuff. All right. Another fan favorite of ours, Mr. Amber Simon. She says, I committed to learning about crypto nearly a year ago and still going to keep my commitment to myself. Yes, I can tell you, we started streaming. I've been going for over 2 years at this point. So Will, you're probably looking at like 2.5, almost 3. So believe me, we've been streaming like multiple times every week for over 2 years at this point. We're still learning things every day. I tell you that much. So hats off to you. It is a long trek, but at the end of it, I hope you are well rewarded for it. Mr. Fast Abdul coming in here says, I am here for the tech. Not much tech here, sir, other than the technology or tech of the pitch, the technology of sales.
We've got the tech right here, bro. This is a folding L bracket. This is one of my new favorite things. Bam. You've got an L bracket. You can put weight on it. You hit this trigger and it folds right down. Boom. You've got a table right up there on your wall. So this is what Mr. Fast Abdul came to see today. Is this definitely not funky folding technology here. Good to see you, Fast Abdul.
I'm a mechanical engineer myself, so that kind of stuff, that's the tech I like. Machine design, wow, beautiful. All right, last but not least, Miss Tam Tam coming in last again. She says, love you guys. Great stream, gents. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody out there for showing up. I know, bit of a shorter show, but it's a shorter book. Keep it nice and sweet for you.
Sorry, one interesting thing. This somebody rated this book 2 out of 5 stars.
That's fine. They're lost.
Did they give a comment for it?
No, they didn't comment. So maybe it was some bot. Or maybe I have the wrong book, to be honest with you. I could have the wrong book, to be honest with you.
Look, guys, the lion does not concern themselves with the opinions of the sheep. If somebody's going to rate this book as 2 stars out of 5, then their opinions are invalid as far.
But especially when there's no comment, I'm not going to take that into consideration. But anyway, sorry, random aside.
All good. Well, tell you what, gentlemen, we are at the point of the show where we let the folks know where they can find us and what we got going on. So, Alan, you're up first, good sir.
Yeah. So, guys, I've been doing more lives on my channel. If you have been following me, and I appreciate all you guys. This channel was the first live I've ever done. So, really appreciate those who are in this community that have looked at my content. I'm starting to do more live streams as well. And the next live I'm planning on doing while I'm in El Salvador, it's going to be about how the economy, as shitty as it is right now, is affecting your health. I go down a lot of rabbit holes on that one. So stay tuned for that one. I don't have a date yet because I have to figure out what my schedule actually is in El Salvador. But that'll be sometime next week, and maybe I'll be on the show for either a book club or maybe just we'll talk about some health. I mean, if you guys want to do some Q&A or whatever, like put it on the chat, be happy to do one of these days. I've got some time off. I'm chilling for a little bit before I get down to some real business. So appreciate you guys. I'm on X at unplugged_doc. And then my YouTube channel is called Your Health Unplugged. Those are my channels that I've been most active on lately. So check those out. Appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah. Excellent. For the folks at home, you guys can find me and all my stuff at will.pls.fyi. And you can find everything that we do here at the DGen Roundtable every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, where we stream from 8 p.m. Eastern and do some other things. Oh, yeah, check it out. That's where you can find Dr. Chen's stuff right there. So that's what I've got going on. That's what DGen Roundtable's got going on. Next week for book club, we're going to be doing Sun Tzu's The Art of War. It's 45 minutes on Audible, so it's even shorter than this book. Highly recommend it. You guys can also check out, there is a YouTube, there's plenty of YouTube videos. The Art of War has been out for 2,000 years. So there is no copyright on it. There is none of that. Go check it out. If you get the Audible version, it's read by Aidan Gillen, everyone's favorite Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. Cool cat. So always abandon your most strategic airbase right before an evacuation. Yes, Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Exactly what our lovely former President Joe Biden did right before pulling out of Afghanistan. But boy, howdy, is that a whole other topic of conversation. You guys can find me, Zenith, and all the other folks here, again, every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. We stream starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. Zenith, Broski, where can the folks find you? And take us away.
Folks, you can find me on Instagram and X at zenithdi, but more importantly, you can also just find us in the DGen Roundtable. If you scan the QR code over there, that will take you to the Telegram. Inside of there, we have a good chat going on. We post updates, do live streams, and we're known to have a good meme or two and some jokes around there. But yeah, if you want to catch us, that's probably one of the best places to find us. Either that or just hit us up on the socials. And then outside of that, for the week after The Art of War, I'm doing a bit of the devil's advocate arc here. So we've covered some really good books on Book Club, talking about fundamentals, whether it's Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell or Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith. We even did Frederick Hayek, Road to Serfdom. These are some very classic books, and they've definitely been in the stream of what we've been arguing for and what we're big advocates of here in the crypto sphere, which is a lot of libertarian values, free markets, and then adoption of kind of like what pretty much established the Western world. So what I want to do is I want to be able to understand the other side of the coin. So the first book that I'm going to be picking in this series for me is going to be The Price of Inequality by Joseph Stiglitz. This is a book that is actually making the argument against free markets. And why? That unregulated markets, and if you sprinkle in some regulation and corruption, can actually lead to very outsized negative effects. So the point of the book is not to take it as gospel and take it as word, but to understand the arguments so that we can steel man the opposite position and make our case the best we possibly can. So I'm very excited for this. Is it going to be a little bit of heavy reading? Yes, but I have faith in all of you. I have faith in me. I have faith in Will. And Alan, if you want to join us, we'd be happy to have you as well.
Sounds
Excellent.
good.
Well, cool. All right.
When are we doing home math?
when are we doing the home math volume 1?
Yeah,
we can sprinkle that in there. Might make it a Telegram exclusive or something. I don't know. We can find space for it.
All the spicy books in Telegram. There we go. Hey, speaking of, we have a Telegram for the DGen Roundtable Book Club. We hardly ever shout out the DGen Roundtable Book Club Telegram, but if y'all want to go see some of the notes that we do, and if you want to be part of our special spicy streams, which we have never done before, but maybe we'll cover some of the crazier books like Fahrenheit 451 or Home Math or Mein Kampf or Men Don't Love Women Like You. We can cover all those things over in the DGen Roundtable Telegram. Go to t.me/DGen Book Club. All one word. We'll see y'all later. Zenith, all you, bro.
Will do. I want to thank you all for spending your valuable time here with us at the DGen Roundtable. As Agent J often says, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we want to thank you for it every time you spend it here right with us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zenith, but more importantly, you have been watching the DGen Roundtable. Mr. Producer, that's me. Get that trigger finger ready, because it's time to remind all the folks at home to DGen responsibly.